Okay, everyone, it's a couple minutes after 11. This is Kim May from the Fillmore Group. You are logged into the Mid-Atlantic Virtual Users Group session. And today we have Bill Kincaid from IBM joining us for a session titled, What Your IBM Competitive Sales Specialist Wants You to Know. And if I can get my slides to page down, we will keep moving here. Okay, here's my agenda, and I just want to go through this really quickly before I get Bill on. We are going to go for about 45 minutes to give everyone on the line an update on what's happening with DB2 and information management in 2013. IBM's making a lot of changes in information management this year. There's a lot going on, and we want to make sure everyone that's here knows about what's happening. We are recording this session, and I'm also going to post a copy of the presentation slides on the Fillmore Group's blog as soon as we're done. I'll make sure I give everyone a link at the end of the session so that you can go out and take a look if there's anything that you miss. The three takeaways I want everyone to take away from this session today. I hope everyone learns one new thing about what IBM is doing with information management in 2013. There is a whole lot going on. There are new concepts. There's new products. And I want to make sure that if you don't get all your questions answered today, which I'm sure you won't, you have some idea of where you can go for help. And I think that's the other reason that Bill and I want to do this. We want to make sure everyone knows that you're welcome to come to us for help. And of course, whenever you're doing something like this, having an actionable plan next step is always good. And now I can't switch slides. All right. Okay, so we are doing this presentation as part of the Mid-Atlantic Virtual Users Group. What I've been trying to do is get some sort of virtual users group put together for people that are on the East Coast so that they can become more familiar with the resources that are available and some of the local talent. One of the things that happens, IBM is global. The information that we're sharing today is certainly applicable to any organization or anyone around the world. However, what I'm trying to do is make sure that the local folks here know where to go for help. I am Kim May. I'm an IBM champion. I am the Vice President of Business Development for the Fillmore Group. I've been working for Frank Fillmore, who's a DB2 Gold consultant, for the past 8 years. We specialize on information management. We resell software. We do consulting. We deliver IBM authorized training. We are totally invested in IBM information management. And now I would like to introduce Bill Kincaid. Bill Kincaid is the IBM Competitive Sales Specialist. And Bill, since I've just rattled on for the last few minutes, it's your turn. Please introduce yourself.
Well, I appreciate it, Kim. And on behalf of IBM, thank all of you for joining us. And let me put a plug in for Fillmore Group. They are, in my opinion, one of the premier IBM partners, particularly on the East Coast. I've known them for 4 to 6 years. Not only through IBM, but through a previous life. So if you have engagements, you should feel very comfortable doing business with the Fillmore Group. And so on behalf of IBM, thank you very much. And also, as a Washington Redskin fan living in the midst of, in Charlotte, in the midst of the Carolina Panthers, I would like to extend my congratulations to the Baltimore Ravens fans for a well-played and hard-earned Super Bowl win. So, thank you very much.
Well, that's very gracious, Bill, and I want to tell you, I think we are the only IBM business partner that actually had a blog post about the Baltimore Ravens on our website. So,
To all you Ravens fans, congratulations to you. You earned it. Here's what I do, and here's who I am. This would have been my 34th year at IBM. I did leave in 1993, however, and I went to Oracle, and went to Microsoft, and went back to Oracle, and now I have an opportunity to come back to IBM. So it's kind of a full circle opportunity to come back home. And I work on a team within IBM and on behalf of partners like Fillmore Group. When a customer raises their hands and says, you know what, Bill, we are an Oracle customer, we're running Oracle's database, but there are times that we may consider evaluating something else for a variety of reasons. Don't know what those reasons may be. Could be support, could be price. Usually it's price. And so I get engaged with the account teams, with the information management reps, and work with the customers to help them evaluate alternatives. And usually those alternatives, the end result is to either lower cost, improve performance, or help some way in terms of the administrative duties. So that's what I do. And my contact information is going to be at the end of the presentation. I encourage you, do not hesitate to contact me or Kim if you have questions or if you have a need to have some sort of conversation about what are some of the next steps.
And Bill, before we move on, one other question about what you're doing. I know you're part of an IBM competitive team, and I know that your team is I guess, at this point, somewhat global. IBM for so many years seemed to have sort of a co-opetition strategy with other vendor database products, but now they seem to be sort of squaring off a bit more. Can you explain a little bit about the positioning that IBM is doing with DB2?
Well, I'll be brutally honest. This is a no, I don't have anything to hide. Oracle owns the majority of the market share in the Linux, Unix, Windows space. They've got probably between 50 to 55, maybe upwards of 60 percentage points of market share. IBM DB2 and SQL Server, and to a lesser extent Sybase and Informix and MySQL, we basically carve up the balance of the market share. And in the 90s, IBM decided to focus a lot on the mainframe, and Oracle decided to focus a lot on the distributed platforms. So now we are in 2013, and the market is demanding capabilities out of that distributed environment. So we're fighting for market share against Oracle, and IBM decided, you know what, in a sort of a not in a market that's not growing dramatically like the database market, in order to take market share, we're probably going to have to do something dramatic. We're going to have to give the customer some choice. So IBM, the labs in Toronto, actually took DB2 9.5 and rewrote it and embedded the Oracle PL SQL capabilities and all the others and natively inside DB2. So with the release of version 9.7, we see 95 to 98% compatibility with Oracle's database right out of the box. And kind of that's where we're positioning today. So we'll compete in the marketplace with a product that will give an Oracle customer an alternative, and we'll also compete in the marketplace on performance, scalability, reliability, and price. So it's kind of a two-pronged approach, but if you want to go after share, you go after the vendor that has the most share.
That's terrific. Thank you. And I think one of the things for people that are listening to this webinar, one of the things that Bill particularly brings to the table is that he is very approachable and he is very honest. And IBM has put together this toolkit to enable people like Bill to go out and talk to Oracle customers and explain to them what the value prop is today. So Bill, can you explain a little bit about, I guess I listed everything I could of all the different things in the information management portfolio.
Right. Yes. IBM has 4 or 5 pillars of products. Middleware solutions, point applications like a Maximo. But the pillar we want to talk about today, and particularly within that pillar, is our information management product called DB2. But the pillar also includes appliances, like the Netezza appliance that we acquired from the third party called Netezza, and any Pure systems that we have rolled out. Any governance products like Optum and Guardium, any integration solutions that fall in that pillar, and the hottest things going now, our big data solutions and our analytics solutions, particularly the ones that we acquired from Cognos. In my humble opinion, I think as those customers on the phone today, you would agree that the Netezza purchase and the Cognos acquisition from IBM were probably 2 of the biggest and most important ones we've made in a long, long time. Next.
Perfect. Wait a minute. I'm trying. There we go. There we go.
And by the way, yeah, we will focus, since this is a users group, I'm assuming that the majority of the folks on the phone are IBM customers. We're not only going to focus on what to do if you have Oracle, we're going to focus on some things that are good for you, that are benefits for you as an already installed DB2 customer. We'll talk about some new functionality that is embedded into the Advanced Enterprise Server Edition. We'll go over fairly quickly the packaging options, and we'll talk real quick about some of the integration around the Pure systems. Now, I will be another upfront and honest. We have introduced a platform of appliances called Pure Systems, and within that platform are multiple solutions, all with the name Pure, and it can get confusing, and hopefully during this presentation we'll clear up some of the confusion, but trust me, if you have a question, Kim and I will be more than happy to answer them.
And thank you, Bill, because I think that's very true. I think some of the product naming conventions make it a little bit of a challenge to figure out which is which. But one of the other points that I wanted to bring up that's kind of nice for current DB2 users is that some of the competition with Oracle has really sort of forced IBM to step up their game. And some of the packaging options and the functionality things that are now included with DB2 are really some of them have been put there so that they can compete with Oracle, but they're also providing value in different places. So
that's a good point. Competition always makes you better.
Yes.
So now we're at poll question number 1. Go ahead, Kim.
Okay, so we have some polls here, and everyone can just take a look and answer. So the question we have is, do you currently have DB2 running in production at your shop? So we're going to let that run for a couple seconds, and I don't think it takes too long to answer that. And our responses right now, it looks like most of the folks on who are on the webcast right now are running DB2. In fact, we're at 97% yes and 3% no. So we're going to close out that poll, and we'll keep going.
All right. For those that are running IBM DB2 in production, we thank you. On behalf of IBM, we appreciate your support. For the 3%, hopefully we can offer you an alternative either today or in the future.
Yep, terrific. Okay. So now we're going to move on, and I just wanted to quickly go through the different versions of DB2 because when Bill talked about the Pure systems and some of the naming challenges, I think with DB2 for Linux, Unix, Windows, I think there's a lot of confusion because we have so many different offerings and because there isn't a one-size-fits-all with a database. And one of the things that IBM has done, they offer DB2 Express C, which is literally free. So if you're going to develop something and you want to develop an application and you want a database to use on the back end to see how it's going to work, you can use this free downloadable version of DB2, and if it works, then you can license it, or if not, you don't have to. IBM introduced what they call they've always had the Enterprise Edition, which is for your enterprise, larger customers. But they introduced the Advanced Enterprise Edition in November of 2010. And so if any of you are confused about where your organization fits or what version you should be running, obviously there's a different price point for each of these. There's a link to an article at the bottom, and I would recommend that anyone who's interested in learning more takes a look at that because I think it is really important. And so yeah, Bill, this is yours. I told you anything that was difficult I was going to turn over to you. So this is all yours.
If I could address the last chart, however, real quick. If you're a customer that's running Enterprise Server, the ESE edition, I would encourage you to evaluate what it would take to move to the Advanced Server Edition, primarily because there are cost benefits that can be associated with it with a fairly immediate with a fairly immediate payback. And the Fillmore Group is one of the firms in the United States, one of the partners from IBM, that can take an upgrade from soup to nuts for a customer from start to finish. So I would encourage you to evaluate that, at least from a price point. I don't think you want to leave money on the table in terms of any of the costs and the benefits that you could derive out of an upgrade. Let's talk real quick. There are really 7 value propositions around IBM DB2 now. The 7th one is really a sum total of the 6 that you see on the chart here, total cost of ownership. But if you break them down, it really revolves around people costs, which is item number 1. There are third-party studies that show, as a DB2 customer, your DBAs tend to be, because your DBAs are functioning with DB2, they tend to be more productive because DB2 tends to have less administrative effort necessary. The second piece around the autonomics, if you're an Oracle customer, and I suspect many of you on the phone are, you're using products like Diagnostics Pack and Tuning Pack and Configuration Management Pack and Performance Management Pack. A lot of those features and functions that you pay extra for at Oracle and that sometimes have manual intervention. DB2 has embedded the autonomics features into our product, so it automatically does things like optimize, heal, configure, protect. That helps your administrative duties around the DBAs. The third item, in terms of compression, based on the algorithms that IBM has patented around the database, we compress data, and the feature is embedded in the price of the solution now, but we compress data on an average of between 30 and 70% better than potentially what Oracle compresses it at right out of the box. If you're an Oracle customer, you can buy advanced compression. It costs you a little bit extra, and it might get you to 40 or 50% of compression. The key with IBM's solution, however, is that based on our compression rates, it saves you storage on the back end, and it potentially can improve your input-output or your I/O traffic. So those are hard dollar savings that customers are realizing every day. But in terms of speed and performance, we do leapfrog each other. But as a DB2 customer, please know that you are running a bulletproof, high-performance, mission-critical, enterprise-class product. And we prove it out every day, particularly around SAP applications. You can Google and do all the research, but we do leapfrog Oracle back and forth and back and forth. But particularly around the SAP applications, the speed and performance is the second to none. Kim brought up a good point about competition and how competition makes you a better provider. Oracle, in the past and beginning in like 2003 and 4, introduced a RAC, Oracle Real Application Clusters, and it rapidly became a solution in Oracle's shops to provide workload balancing at peak times during the month. But then customers figured, you know what, it's also potentially a scalability and an availability solution. And it kind of forced IBM to rethink about how we wanted to provide scalability and availability. We have a solution called PureScale. It's been in the marketplace approximately 2 years now, 2.5 years now, and it provides similar functionality that Oracle RAC provides. The end result is similar. How you get there is a little different. So from an availability perspective, we match or exceed Oracle's availability around RAC. But from a scalability perspective, item number 6, you as an IBM customer should know that the ability to scale beyond 8 to 16 to 32 to 64 nodes is superior to what Oracle's providing in the marketplace around Oracle RAC. Next.
Okay, and one question, Bill, before we go on. When you look at all these different features and all these different things that IBM has done to improve DB2, when you're talking to Oracle customers, which one seems to get the most interest?
The storage or the compression is one of those show me, you know,
Uh-huh.
I hear you, IBM, but prove it. And the total cost of ownership, which is really item number 7, it's not on the chart, but it's the sum total of all of them. The TCO over a 3 and 5 year period is the secondary. Those are the dollars and cents discussions.
Yep.
The technology discussion about Oracle compatibility is the other item that draws the most interest, because people want us, they believe us, but they want to see it in action, and we have tools and processes to help customers see that in real life.
Very good. Okay.
We have poll question number 2. Kim, take it away.
Okay, here we go. Our second poll is, let's see what we have. If you run DB2, which version or versions do you currently own? And it looks like, okay, it looks like we got a lot of mainframe people on here. This is great. We have a group of DB2 customers on, and we also have a fair number of DB2 Enterprise Server Edition. And we only see, Bill, we only see 22% with Advanced Enterprise Server Edition. So only about 1 in 5 people on the session today are taking advantage of some of these, the features that IBM has bundled in AESE.
Okay. All right, thank you all for answering those questions. I noticed we started off with 58 people. We're at 57, and I'm impressed. 25 minutes into our presentation, we have almost 100% participation, so thank you for hanging in here with us.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to move on here. And Bill, this is more of the detail on AESE, so can you explain a little bit about what IBM has bundled into the Advanced Enterprise Server Edition package?
We heard loud and clear that customers wanted a more simplistic packaging offering, and they would like for us to figure out a way to include some of the features and functions in that package. So what you see here on this chart is that we have taken in the AESE version, and we have bundled the storage optimization feature. We have bundled the QF features or the replication features, any workload management features, and at the bottom, all of the tooling. These are the items that, as an Oracle customer, you buy a diagnostics pack, tuning pack, configuration pack, change management pack. We've bundled the Optum products as well as IBM Data Studio into the Advanced Server Edition. So now, as a customer, you get the kitchen sink because we see customers using them all the time, and they really weren't. They kind of were having heartburn about having to buy this option and that option, and we heard it loud and clear. Please don't nickel and dime me to death. The other option that's kind of embedded is, and this is if you're doing real-time analytics, particularly if you're a bank or a financial services firm or a retailer, and you want to catch fraud in the middle of it happening, this continuous data ingest features are very, very important, and they are critical in the marketplace today for customers that want to do real-time kind of analytics. Next. Here is another chart, and I would encourage you, if you're running Enterprise Edition, it sounded like there were a good number of customers were, ask Kim or ask me to prove to you why it could be beneficial to upgrade to Advanced Server Edition, particularly if any of the options that you have to pay for as an enterprise customer. If you're interested in buying that option as a one-off to attach to your enterprise server edition license, why not go ahead and consider the whole bundle, because the price points are very, very key in making that decision, and particularly around performance management and storage optimization. Those two pay for themselves, and Kim's got a nice little star here. They tend to pay for themselves in less than a year. The key one is the storage optimization feature. We compress based on our algorithms in all of those ways: row, adaptive, value. I won't identify them all to you. You can see them there. But I can promise you, I have seen customer after customer, and you saw the SunTrust reference a couple of minutes ago about storage reduction up to 70% and even SunTrust realized an 83% storage compression reduction in their production applications. So these are real live numbers that are critical to helping you control your costs.
And Bill, one of the things that you and I had discussed, I think just last week, was how you were talking to a customer about how their data volumes were exploding, and you were talking to them about using compression to offset.
Yeah, Kim doesn't have the reference in here, but Coca-Cola Bottling here in Charlotte, where they were an Oracle customer running SAP, and they were on a track of about a 20% data growth on a yearly basis. They installed the DB2 underneath SAP, turned on the storage optimization feature, and immediately saw a 50% compression. And so what that meant to them was that the storage they had on the floor, they could utilize twice as long as they had anticipated with the 20% growth. So here we are 3 years later, and they're just now maxing out on the storage today that they thought they were going to have to rebuy or reallocate 3 years ago. So they got 3 more years out of what they had.
That's fabulous.
The other feature that's embedded in DB2 is a performance optimization feature. These are the Optum products that we have taken and embedded into DB2. These are the products that help your DBAs become more efficient in their work around using the database. Workload tuner, pure query runtimes, these are the things that you, as an Oracle customer, you bought diagnostics and tuning pack. And here is a sort of a dashboard that you can see that takes what is embedded in this performance optimization feature. We call it Extended Insight. And you can not only monitor your database, but you can monitor activity above and beyond the database, including things like application response time across a multi-tiered application stack. So there's a lot of features and functions here that go above and beyond what your DBAs could be using today in your shops.
And I think one of the reasons I wanted to include this particular slide, mostly because it's a picture, but I want everyone to understand that the dashboarding right now that's available with DB2, when you look at the different components of what's happening, it's just amazing what a great job IBM has done in keeping it clean and simple, so that when you're looking at the dashboards, you're seeing stuff that really means something to you. You can see where a query is being slowed down so that you can address it. And it's really marvelous and very helpful. So we're ready for poll question number 3. And this particular poll question is for it looks like most of the folks on here are DB2 users, most of the people joining us today. And for you mainframe folks, you probably don't understand what this question means, but the question is, what does PVU stand for? And I see that several people have answered pretty violet underpants, and I just want to tell you, you are wrong. But no one has answered Priscilla's very ugly, which is good. Okay, so PVU stands for Processor Value Unit, and for those of us in the DB2 for Linux, Unix, Windows world, that is how we buy DB2, and that is how IBM sells DB2. So it's important in your organization when you're looking at something like Advanced Enterprise Server Edition versus Workgroup Edition versus Enterprise Server Edition to get a handle on how many processors you have on your server, because that's how IBM is going to price out DB2 for you. And I thought it was interesting. It'd be good for everybody to, if you don't know that, make sure that someone on your management team explains it to you, because whenever you're looking at different versions, it's important to get a handle on what your starting point is. So one of the things I wanted to explain as well that's included in the Advanced Enterprise Server Edition, there's two features. One is called Federation and one is called Replication. Most people run into these concepts and have different products or solutions that they use to address them. But Federation was the reason I came to work for the Fillmore Group. I thought this was just the coolest piece of technology ever, and it basically enables you to combine data from two different types of databases, from Oracle and from SQL Server, from DB2 and Oracle. And you can run queries against that joined data, and it's just very slick. And IBM developed it, patented it, and it's included in the AESE bundle. You can't do anything with it. I think they've included it so that you can federate, you can combine Oracle and DB2 data. IBM also has a product called Q-Replication, which is extraordinarily fast replication, and they've included Q-Replication for DB2 to DB2, which you can use as a high availability solution or use it for failover. And if you buy the DB2 AESE bundle, you don't have to pay for it separately. This is sort of analogous to Oracle's Golden Gate solution, which they do not offer to anyone free of charge. And Bill, this slide is for you.
Okay, I was on mute. How foolish of me. That's what you get for having a Washington Redskin fan on the phone here. We have identified, if you'll see the website that talks about any detailed information that you would like above and beyond what we're talking about today, around the DB2 Advanced Server Edition, and then below that are some implementation services that we can provide or help with a customer who wants to evaluate what we're trying to do. Some of the services, some of the assessments are free on our part from IBM. Some of the services around implementation can be billable, but I did want to tell you that there is a lot of help and a lot of resources, not only within IBM, but from companies, from a partner like Fillmore Group, to help you evaluate and get started on some of these projects.
Okay, so we're going to do poll question number 4. And so now I'm following on with my PVU question with the how many PVUs do you have question, if you know. Okay, so it looks like we have about half the folks on the presentation have fewer than 500 PVUs, and it looks like about half have more than that. So that sounds about like a typical distribution of IBM customers. So Bill, I guess one of the things we want to talk about sort of carefully here is what's on the horizon and what current DB2 customers can do to get a little closer to what IBM has in development.
Okay. Yeah, there's the next slide Kim's going to show. April 23rd, there's a big event. Kim and I went round and round with IBM Legal about what we could say and what we couldn't say. But as an IBM customer, and on behalf of IBM, I understand the ethics behind pre-announcing things. I'm telling you that on April 23rd, there is a sizable announcement around our information management products, and particularly around the solution that we're talking about today. I'll be quiet for 10 seconds and let you read what's on it, but I will tell you that the announcement is big enough that you should dial in, or Kim and I can take you through the announcement at your leisure anytime on or after the 23rd. But it is worth understanding what's going to happen during this announcement, because it could positively affect things that you're considering doing in the future.
And Bill, one other thing I'd like to add to this is that for anyone that's on the phone that is really curious and wants to know what's happening, you are welcome to contact Bill, and he can have you sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, between your organization and IBM, and he can share with you anything you'd like to know about what's happening with DB2 in the new version.
I should have brought that up. That is correct.
The other thing, too, is that anyone that's interested in being a beta for an upcoming version of DB2, if you want to get a sneak peek into the functionality, if there's something in particular that you're hoping is going to be packaged in, same deal. Get in touch with Bill or with me, and we can make sure that you become a beta customer.
I mentioned earlier on that the industry is moving towards appliances. Well, the customers are saying, hey, make it more simple for me. And if you can build it and use your expertise to build it and then deliver it to me almost complete, please do. I'm not going to hide any activities here. If you're an Oracle customer, you've been approached about looking at Oracle Exadata. That is an appliance. IBM has responded in the marketplace with a vengeance, and our appliances really fall into three categories: Pure Flex, Pure Application, and Pure Data. We're going to talk a little bit more about Pure Data real quick, but just know that you've got some choices. If you want an appliance where you bring your own applications and middleware, then Pure Flex is for you on the left.
Oops.
If you want to run IBM middleware, but you want to run your own application, Pure Application is for you. And there are patterns already developed. We call them patterns. That's probably a fancy word for templates. But there are patterns and templates already available for quite a few ISV applications that are ready to run and plug in the wall and get it going around applications. The one in the middle is for you. And it doesn't preclude that a customer can have all three of these in a variety of fashions. But if we could drill down on the Pure Data platform, Kim, on the next chart. There are three. Here again, I told you we were going to get confusion around the Pure name, but there are three Pure Data systems. There's Pure Data for Analytics, which you previously knew as the Netezza frame. There are Pure Data for Operational Analytics, which you may have previously known as IBM's ISAS platform or our real-time analytics platform. And then the one we want to talk about real quick is our OLTP transactions appliance. We call it Pure Data for Transactions. If you have a sizable DB2 distributed footprint or a sizable Oracle footprint, or if you are looking to offload some of your activities from your mainframe to a distributed environment that is OLTP based, this would be a perfect solution to consider. It has the speed of DB2, the simplicity of an appliance, and I mean simplicity as in it is delivered, pre-configured, ready for you to plug in the wall and load up data and get working. My apologies for my phone in the background. I can't figure out how to cut it off. It is scalable way beyond what is currently in the marketplace today, and it's smart enough to know around the Oracle compatibility that if you wanted to run Oracle database applications on a machine like this, with the Oracle compatibility, you could do that with some minimal changes potentially to either the database or the application. So there are some real benefits around this particular appliance. Next.
So here we go. Next poll question. And the next question is, what different databases does your organization own? I think when we're looking at things and we're now looking at DB2 running on an appliance as well as running as a software solution, I think it's interesting for everybody to take a look at what they own, because we are living in a competitive world and there are only a couple different organizations that are offering DB2 moving into things like the appliance mode. So we have 100% of the people on have DB2, 70% have DB2, have Oracle as well, 73% have SQL Server, 30% have Sybase, and 27% have MySQL. So I think this is pretty standard to hear these days, that we've got people that are running different databases in their environment and using a lot of different competitors' products. So Bill, I wanted to switch over and start talking a little bit more about I guess the IBM, the DB2 versus Oracle story, and how IBM is using, like, the Pure systems, the Pure data systems is obviously one of IBM's ways of addressing the Oracle rack, the appliance type solution. And as you can see from this slide, looks like the Pure data kind of has them nailed.
Correct. Customers are using our expertise and our integration efforts to have us deliver. It's a make or build decision, and I mean a buy or build decision, and it really boils down to the dollars and cents. So yeah, that's pretty much the Pure data for transactions versus either building your own or an Oracle appliance, which customers are looking at every day, but it does have some holes in it. I've talked to a couple customers that an Exadata solution was delivered, but it was in parts, and an Oracle person had to put it together. We'll deliver a Pure data for transaction solution all ready to go to plug in and be loaded up with data.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's go to DB2 versus the competition, and let's talk a little bit about some customers that have actually moved from other vendor databases to DB2.
All right. Here's three on the chart that you see. Borselik is a firm from Austria, and they were running SAP, and they were able to cut their licensing and their maintenance costs by 25%, and their storage costs by 40%. Afrasam is a construction firm. I think it is headquartered in Europe. Here again, similar situation, 35% on storage by consolidating their databases. And then a healthcare firm and a company that we all buy parts from, Pet Boys. They were able to move from Sybase to DB2. And here again, we hadn't talked about a Sybase conversion yet, but it's available. So anyway, these particular companies were able to sunset some of their Sybase into a DB2. And the good news is, or the message that we'd like for you to take away is that this is not a one-off kind of scenario. You can see the numbers at the bottom. 2,700 folks have made a switch, and we have, through our migration factory, which is an internal IBM effort, we've done over 2,100 of these successfully in the last year or two.
Okay, and I think one of the things with each of these firms, the three firms that are highlighted here, they did go with the enterprise, the Advanced Enterprise Server Edition, and I'm just going to buzz through these slides quickly because I think we talked this through, but obviously when people purchase the Advanced Enterprise Server Edition, they are getting a lot of the tooling that is really facilitating these migrations.
Yep. What Kim is showing you on the charts are comparable function that's embedded in our Advanced Server Edition license in green, and comparable function that you would have to buy over and above the license from Oracle. It's a dramatic cost differential.
And so these are, and everybody can go back and read these slides, but these are some quotes from customers that were able to take advantage of the DB2 functionality and the DB2 AESE bundling, and it's pretty clearly impressed them.
Yes.
So this is one customer example that I wanted to go through quickly, and we're not allowed to name them. They're a multinational banking corporation, but the Fillmore Group had the pleasure of working with them, and we're continuing to work with them. But they had a bunch of Oracle databases and had a very, very highly publicized outage, and decided to move one of their largest Oracle databases to DB2. And we're very successful in doing it, and in fact so successful that they are now on a multi-year path to displace every Oracle database within their organization and move it to DB2. And and they're moving applications not only from Oracle to DB2 for Linux, Unix, Windows, but where it's appropriate, they're moving workloads to the mainframe. So they've got DB2 running in different ways, and they're replicating back and forth between the distributed DB2 and the mainframe DB2. So they're taking advantage of all the tooling that IBM has worked so hard to include in DB2. One of the most fascinating things, I think, with what this particular customer did was that they had so many servers. They had, you can see this, 370 Sun servers, and they boiled it all down to 12 Power 770 servers. They went from rooms and rooms of servers to 12 to a dozen. And it's really fascinating. And some of this is, I think, the DB2 story and the DB2 and Power server story, and that the IBM servers are built to take advantage of, or the DB2 is written to take advantage of some of the functions in the servers. But this is where DB2 is getting smarter and smarter. Obviously, for this customer, cost, as Bill has mentioned several times, cost was a huge factor. I think the total cost of ownership is probably the number one driving force behind people doing migrations these days. The other thing on here that is just sort of fascinating, over 90,000 lines of Oracle PLSQL stored procedure code is now running in DB2. 98% of that went right over. The other 2% took some manual work, but it's just amazing how it seemed almost seamless, the transition. When you look at applications that were developed over years of time that were migrated in weeks and months.
Tim, you bring up a good point around costs, and I don't mean to belabor the point, but I know customers would like to save some money. And for those customers on the phone that go, well, you know what, Bill, I already own the Oracle licenses. That's okay. There's still cost benefits that pay back during this 3- and 5-year total cost of ownership scenario, particularly when you look at the maintenance you might be paying as an Oracle customer. We charge less on maintenance, and because of the way we license around virtual, or if you're a VMware customer, the way we license in that VMware environment as compared to the way Oracle licenses. I can answer those questions at another time if you want me to, but suffice to say, even if you already own your Oracle licenses and want to evaluate making a switch, I can help you develop that cost model to see where the benefits are and what the payback is. And this is a chart that shows a total cost of ownership comparing Oracle Exadata, a quarter rack, and IBM Pure Scale, or what we call now Pure Data for Transactions, a small solution. These are comparable in terms of performance, number of cores, number of size of memory. But what we do is we put list price on here as a comparison, and you can see the total cost of ownership over a 3-year period is dramatically different from a cost perspective. So the investment for you, Mr. Customer, is beneficial because you can take money that you aren't spending. You take money that you were going to spend with Oracle, spend less with us, and have more money to put into other projects.
So, Bill, when you're talking to an Oracle customer, do they typically, I guess this is probably true of almost any customer, though, when you're talking to any customer, do they typically have a sense of what the total cost of ownership is for their database? Like, do they have a sense of what they're going to be spending over the next 3 years? Or is this, when we're talking to customers and we're saying, do you know what a PVU is? Do they, in some cases, do they just not know?
Well, they know. Customers are different. They know a couple of things. They know how much you're spending with Oracle in terms of maintenance. But I've got a questionnaire. I'd be glad to get it to anybody in the users group. The questionnaire asks a couple of other questions that you may not have thought about. How much storage do you have supporting your Oracle applications, and what does it grow? How much is it going to grow over the next 3 to 5 years? And what do you pay a fully burdened cost per gigabyte or per terabyte? So when we start asking those questions, we get deeper and deeper answers, and that helps us build that cost-benefit model. So then we sit back, and now we're using a two-way street with a customer. We're evaluating their ideas around making a move, but we're using their numbers to do this cost-benefit model. So it becomes sort of a win-win result for both parties.
Cool. Okay, so we're going to do one more poll. We may skip the last one because we're down to 5 minutes here, but we're getting there. So what would be the number one reason that your organization would consider moving their Oracle workloads to DB2? And so, Bill, not surprisingly, look at this. 50% of people say that it's going to be software license cost. And I think that is probably the number one factor. Although you can see, because we have a lot of technical people on the call, we have people that want resiliency and want better database functionality. And 11% did say a whim of their CIO.
I ran into a whim of the CIO the other day in Miami, Kim, and the whim was fueled by a Oracle support increase last year, and so the wheels are falling off of the car as we speak.
I understand that, and you do hear customers saying it. Apparently a lot of this has to do with timing and when customers realize what they are paying for Oracle. So I wanted to include this, and I wanted you to talk really quickly about this. We have just 5 minutes left, but could you explain a little bit about some of the process that IBM has built around migrating workloads from Oracle to DB2?
Well, the first process was we embedded the PL SQL Oracle engine into DB2. We're running natively Oracle inside of DB2. So that now allows a customer to enjoy any benefits quicker if they choose to do a migration. We wouldn't have this conversation 4 years ago. Let's be honest with each other. But now that the migration efforts are a lot less expensive, you get to enjoy the benefits quicker. So what's motivating the change is customers would like an alternative based on a variety of reasons, mostly cost and mostly ongoing costs around supporting their Oracle environment. I can help you build a business value assessment. We can call it a cost-benefit model. We've built a model, and based on certain input values, we'll help you prove up front that it's financially feasible. There's really two tracks. We take a financial feasibility track, and we take a technology feasibility track. The MEAT tool, it's a fancy word. It stands for Migration Enterprise something tool. If you're, as a customer, if you're willing to identify an application that you would like for us to prove out our value proposition, we'll give you a script. It takes you about 30 minutes to run that script. you will return the output to us. All the script is doing is it's looking for the DDL and the schema. We're not looking for any private data. You return the script to us. We take it back into the Toronto lab, run it against an IBM assessment tool that we built internally, and the output to you, Mr. Customer, will be the compatibility percentage. And we're in the 95 to 98% ratio right now. We'll identify out of the box where your current Oracle database is in terms of compatibility with DB2. We'll identify the 2 or 3% that aren't compatible, and we will identify the steps needed to fix those compatibility things, that 2 or 3%. We'll do the process. We'll do the migration process follow-ups. We'll build the assessments for you. We'll do all of that up front on IBM's nickel. We can engage a group like Fillmore Group as well. If you want them to do that with us, we partner with them all the time. And then we provide follow-up capabilities to you in terms of services that could be billable to help you follow through this migration process. So those are kind of the steps, but it's two parallel tracks that take place. There's a financial track, which is pretty quick, and then there's the technology track, which is fairly harmless and seamless and doesn't take a whole lot of time to prove out the technology value proposition.
That's terrific. And Bill, we've worked with several customers to go through the migration process, and it's terrific to have these tools in place and to be able to say, look, we can demonstrate to you before you start the financial savings, and then we can, as we work through the process, we can tell you as we go through how much is left to get there.
Well, and a point well made, we referenced that we cannot name, Kim, the major financial institution that Fillmore Group worked with. If you'll notice at the bottom, one of the migrations only took 3 months. That's pretty impressive. And it's all built around having that Oracle compatibility within DB2.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Okay, so we have one last poll question we're going to do quickly here. And it is, what would be the biggest obstacle to your organization if you were looking at moving from Oracle to DB2? And oh my goodness, we have 60% of the respondents saying that dismantling the local Larry Ellison fan club would be an issue. And I'm very sorry to hear that because, Bill, I don't think there is a Bill Kincaid fan club in the Southeast yet, is there?
Well, I used to be called the mayor of Charlotte. I'm only joking. No, there's no one.
Oh, that's right.
No, I can understand. I'm not surprised. Typically it is, though, concerns about the migration effort and training. And we address those particularly, well, hopefully we'll address any concerns about migration. But we'll be more than happy to help train your DBAs. I will tell you that the similarities between DB2 and Oracle are pretty interesting. They're very, very similar. We get some nomenclature. We call an item one thing, Oracle calls it something else. But a good Oracle DBA could become a very proficient DB2 DBA within a matter of a week or two.
You're absolutely right, and we've seen it happen, and we've seen some DBAs do a fabulous job of transitioning. I wanted to give everyone just very quickly an overview before we end here of places to start. I'm going to give you Bill Kincaid's contact information. The Fillmore Group is an IBM business partner. There are hundreds of IBM business partners available to help you. The DB2 community is as strong as ever. The International DB2 Users Group has regional users groups all over around the world. IBM has a website called DeveloperWorks that I cannot recommend enough. There is more information than you could ever possibly read in your lifetime, but if you look, you will find what you need out there. Upcoming events, we're going to host another Mid-Atlantic Information Management Virtual Users Group. I'm going to have IBM's Warren Heising, who is a technical specialist, do a presentation. It's going to be sometime after April 23rd because we're not allowed to say what's going to happen on April 23rd, but we want to make sure that we deliver that message more than once and that we answer people's questions, and that's what we intend to do at the next session. I am hosting a lunch called a DB2 101 session where we are going to go through all the products in the IBM information management portfolio. Not I, but my manager, Frank Fillmore, who's a DB2 Gold consultant, will go through all these, give you an overview of the portfolio in 45 minutes. We're going to host this at a restaurant called Shingali, which is the boar in Italian, in Baltimore, and it's going to be on April 11th. I have the invitation up on our blog. Anyone who is in the Baltimore area who is available to join us, please do. It is lunch on us, and we'd love to have you join us. This is Bill's contact information. I'm going to leave this up here for a minute for those of you that aren't going to have time to go out and get the slides down. Please note his email address and his phone number. Bill, I cannot thank you enough. You did a wonderful job. This has been really terrific.
Kim, it was my pleasure. I'm a cheerleader for IBM. But I want our customers to know that we are very, very appreciative of their interest and support of IBM and all the things that we're doing in the marketplace. And just know our intent is to deliver value to you so you can focus on what is mission critical for you.
Yep, and if anyone has any questions, feel free to put some questions into the question queue. I am going to... Anybody, if you need to excuse yourself right now, we're out of time. Please go ahead and drop. But if you have questions, I'm going to take a look at the question queue, and we will try to get a couple questions answered. And I know that, Bill, you have to drop in a couple minutes as well. So if you have questions submitted, Bill and I may respond to you via email. In fact, I think that's what we'll do in the interest of time right now.
Well, Kim, I can hang on for 10 more minutes. If somebody wants to ask, it's up to you.
Okay. Well, I am going to take a look right now. Can you see the question queue on your machine?
No, ma'am.
Okay, let's see. I have some comments here, and let's see. Oh, does Bill still have the Sybase SQL skin? I don't think IBM is using the SQL skins anymore, are they?
No, we're not using the skins anymore. It's another discussion we can have offline. But we do have a partner who has developed and has patented a Sybase conversion methodology that we have started using fairly extensively. And if somebody's interested in that Sybase effort, I can make sure that we get engaged appropriately.
Okay, that's cool. I also have a question here in the queue about a customer that has that is a mainframe customer that is looking for some assistance. And could you help them with that, Bill?
Sure. If they'll contact me, I'll be more than happy to facilitate and find the resource to help them.
Okay. And there is also...
Yeah, my email address is on the screen, or if you want to send them an email, Kim, and give it directly to them.
Okay, and I have one other question in here about CDC as opposed to QREP being bundled in the Advanced Enterprise Server Edition. And at this time, IBM does not have any plans to include CDC, although if you're sort of following along IBM's replication strategy over the last couple years, there has been consolidation of change data capture and Q replication into the single part number, the IBM InfoSphere replication IIDR, data replication, part number. And so I think that's sort of a coming soon thing. So if it's something that interests you, if you'd like to become a beta customer, if you'd like to get involved in some of the customer panels that are giving IBM input, I think that's IBM's attempts to try to merge those two products. I think that's something that would be valuable for them to hear from a customer.
Yep, and I think one of the reasons that change data capture was not embedded is because it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think change data capture is a cross-database potential, and so since it has value with DB2 and outside DB2, it looks like it's going to, for at least today, it's an option that is chargeable. it would be like Golden Gate would be for Oracle.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, well, I think that's it for the questions. Bill, again, thank you very much for doing this.
It was my pleasure. These are fun. You know, these are, well, it's, I mean, as we all would prefer face-to-face interaction, but with technology the way it is today, this saves money. Hopefully, in the next in-person users group meeting you have, I'll be there.
That sounds terrific. I hope you can come up to Baltimore and join us at Chigali for lunch. It's a great restaurant, and it's usually a really fun session.
Well, is that the Boar, B-O-A-R, or the Boar, B-O-R-E?
We would never do a session that is the B-O-R-E. Come on.
Really, that stands for? That's cute. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm signing off, and I must say thank you to everyone for your time today.
On behalf of IBM, thank you.
Thanks. Bye, Bill.
Bye-bye.